welcome back to Energy 101. Today we have Tyler Wilson with 20 plus years of experience. He's currently working at Altor. And, this is actually a recommendation from Maciel, who we had on for Wireline. So,
shout out Midnight Marketing.
Yeah, spread the love. If you know someone in the industry who can cover a topic we have yet to get to, don't be shy. But anyway, Tyler, why don't you tell us about what you do and we'll kind of get into your background for this episode.
So my name's Tyler Wilson. I'm the COO for Altor Solution. At the moment, we only have one solution, and that's lining production tubing with stainless steel liners. And really what it's doing is it's a barrier in between the carbon steel and the well atmosphere. So we're trying to eliminate corrosion, which is roughly a $400 to $500 million issue for OTCG.
Like, how about like per project or like per rig would that cost in corrosion? I mean, I don't know what that acronym meant.
The OTCG is the pipe market, is a production pipe market. So you look at a typical well, you could have 10,000, we'll call it 500 foot to 10,000 foot of pipe in the ground. And that's, production pipe. We're not talking casing, which, is 22,000 plus of casing in the ground in the wellbore.
I have so many questions, but first, let's talk about your background. You said you were a roughneck?
Yeah.
So you started out in 99 throwing tongs?
Yes, actually. So I had a good family, no issues like that, and got forced to the oil field. I went to college. I got kicked out. I ended up, instead of a finance degree, got a level 2 ski instructor's license in Canada. And then that didn't work out too well in my college career. So when I got home, my mom's like, "What are you going to do?" So I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that's a good question." So I fled the country. I moved to Australia for 2 years working on ag exchange.
Wow.
So got in with a really nice family and custom combine for 2 years. And then I was coming home, and I remember being in Brisbane, Australia, coming back. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And my brothers and my cousins were all in the oil field. So they're like, "Hey, we need a roughneck on this rig." And I was like, okay, got it.
Are you from Calgary?
South of Calgary. I actually grew up about, 15 miles from the Montana border.
Okay.
Tiny town.
Oh, wait,
like 500 people.
I can name a city down there. Is it Fernie?
And Fernie's west, and that's in British Columbia. I'm in Alberta.
Okay.
Oh, Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Midland of Canada.
Yeah, I guess. Well, where I grew up is very similar to Midland, yes.
Okay.
Not many trees.
But you're closer to Rocky, so it's beautiful over there, right?
It was a trip to go to the Rockies.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not on the horizon?
No, not where I live.
Okay.
I lived in southern Alberta.
Right.
So you roughnecked in Alberta where it was freezing cold and you were frozen all the time.
Yeah, but you get used to it. There's tricks and stuff like that. Like I remember working derrick, and before you went up the stick, you get sprayed with the pressure washer because then your coveralls will freeze up.
And you get less cold?
Yeah, because the wind doesn't go through.
Oh.
It's kind of like a wetsuit. That's how a wetsuit kind of works, but the opposite.
Crazy.
A Canadian wetsuit.
The funny thing is, I never had insulated coveralls till I came to the U.S.
Oh my gosh. Where did you work in the U.S. that you needed?
Well, so I fast forward to when I migrated down here. I went to work I was working for a company called Tesco in Canada. And so I just kind of rotated down to the U.S., moved to Grand Junction, Colorado. And yeah, I just never had insulated coveralls. And then I just went out to the field because I was managing at this time, but they needed help. So
yeah,
I'd go out and it felt colder here.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
That's crazy. How long were you on the rigs in Alberta?
About 6.5 years.
Wow. That's a long time to be. Did you work your way all the way up to?
It wasn't that bad. That would be a long career roughnecking. But
right.
No, I worked my way up to drilling and really so the next transition was really going to Tesco. And then I spent 20 plus years with Tesco.
Okay.
So that transition, I was drilling, and this was like early stages of like not directional drilling with casing. So like I was there and I was like watching these Tesco guys, these Tesco casing drillers. And I'm like, they don't do anything. They make more money than I do. And they hang out in that shack all day. And they don't have to do a rig move at minus 50 Celsius.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to apply there. And they hired me.
That's awesome.
So I don't know if the competition was weak or what, but I got the job and then just kind of worked my way up there. I kind of went over to was hired in on their top drive side and then went over to their casing running side and really just kind of built my career off of that side and worked my way up from the field into the office. And then at one point I managed all of Canada. And then I came to the US about housing bubble crash, that 2008 kind of deal, moved to Grand Junction. And then I spent 2 years just right sizing locations. Horrible job to do that. Cause you're pretty much just letting people go, right? And trying to get it back to profitability where you can rebuild and use it as a launch board to go forward. And they just kind of, Grand Junction then got me Fort Worth location. And then that got me South Texas location. And then ended up, I was the director of tubular services for Tesco. So I think I had 9 to 10 locations, US and Canada. I was the North American director.
That's awesome. And you lived in Houston?
Yeah.
And you live in Houston now?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I did a brief 45-day stop in Fort Worth, bought a house and everything.
Oh
my God.
Gosh. Wait, why?
Had a 1-month-old baby. That my wife was from Grand Junction too. So we moved down.
That's crazy.
But it was just my boss got pegged to go to Far East Asia. And they're like, hey, we want you to come to Houston. I thought they were kidding. I was like, yeah, whatever. Hung up. Next day,
You're like, I just bought a house.
HR calls me. He's like, hey, what about that talk we had yesterday? And I was like, I thought you were kidding.
That's crazy. Transitioning into Altor.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that experience kind of led you here.
True.
To fix corrosion.
Yeah. And really, I was on your side of the table when I started this venture with Altor. I didn't know what it was either. Headhunter came to me and, initially asked me if I wanted to do a sales job. And I was like, sure. And I gave XYZ and she was like, whoa, that's quite a bit you want. I was like, yeah, I got a career path here.
Right.
And she's like, well, would you mind, can you send me your resume? So I sent it over. And then she's like, do you want to apply for the COO job? And I was like, sure, why not? And maybe again, back to competition, but here I am. So no, and it's been a great journey. My investors are amazing.
How long have you been there now?
So I've been there since April 24.
Okay.
So company was founded in 21. It took a little bit to get the shop set up and that. We're just down by Bush International Airport, just 5 minutes from there, actually. It took a little bit to get set up and we have very unique equipment. So I guess maybe we get to this.
Let's get into it.
So essentially what we do is we build stainless steel tubes out of coils, and then we just insert them into the pipe by hand. And then we have a patented forming and rolling process. So machine patent and process patent, where we just roll this out into the body of the tubing. So at that point, there's a mechanical bond. It's not coming out, it's not moving, and it's protecting that ID. Like if you want to take a look at that, that'll show you that like the inside of it is lined with this stainless steel liner.
Oh, so this is like the inside of the pipe is like corroding and it's all.
So that is actually what physical production tubing. That's a live sample. So that's what pipe looks like. And that's actually in pretty good condition, the outside of it. But if you think about it being in a well with chlorides, CO2, H2S, it really attacks the carbon steel. And then eventually you'll get holes in it. So really our value proposition is overall cost of ownership. We want that tubing to stay in the ground for as physically as long as possible. Like I had one customer come back to me and he kind of did the math on it. And he's like, so if I avoid one shutdown on my well to pull production tubing, I can pay for this. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So how it worked before y'all's technology came out, they would have to take it completely out and then go back in
and either run new stuff in, or there's other things on the market, GRE liners, There's IPCs, like internal pipe coating, that's sprayed in there. So it's just a different barrier to, covering up that carbon steel to make it last longer.
And that piece is as long as the pipe?
Yeah.
It's the whole.
It'll be like 32.5 foot long.
And you just put it in?
Yeah, we do it sideways though. I have had customers like, can you do it like while the well's
in the
flowing?
hole? You can't do that?
No, we can't do that.
So you still have to take it out?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So it would be during when you had a failure, say, or maybe, preemptive.
Is this during production?
Yes.
Or like not during drilling? It's
like drilling's done, completions is done. This is like production issues.
Okay.
Right? Because as wells go through their life cycles, the environments change. So, at one time it was probably pretty good, flow rates were good, everything like that. And then just after time, they get more corrosive. So, and then it starts attacking the tubing.
Gotcha. So they have to basically stop production. And so I'm just going to ask a question about production. How do they stop production? Like, how do you just stop?
Well, it depends on what kind of lift system you have.
Okay.
Artificial lift, like you can, gas lift, plunger lift. You just stop, right? Like you see the pump jack going?
Yeah.
Shut it off.
Okay.
Right now it's stationary. Pull those rods out and then you can go ahead and pull the production.
Okay. And then y'all have to work pretty fast so they can get back online.
Well, that would be the perfect world, right? But even across the board, it's some pre-planning for it too. They know which are their bad actors and which ones are going to have issues typically. So they'll stock some.
Okay.
And, like you look at 13 chrome market. So chrome tubing is the next, I would say the next best thing to this. Through my testing and that, I feel like stainless beats it. But once it gets
what's the difference?
It has chrome in the pipe, so the chrome stops the corrosion from happening. Well, it slows it down. This slows it down. Eventually, it will corrode too.
Okay.
But I'm saying
you can't beat Mother Nature.
No. Yeah, pretty much. You're 100% right. But yeah, from testing and, my sales team is sick of me hearing me do this presentation and be like, we're cycle rich, sample poor. So we have lots of pipe in the ground right now, but nobody's had a need to pull it, which is great. I'm super happy for my customers, but for me to write a white paper or something like that, I can't actually get the physical material loss reports from.
How long has the technology been around? You went there in 2024, but how long have they been?
So founded in 2021, 2023 was when we put our first strings in the ground.
Okay.
For some majors too. So it wasn't just mom and pop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or we just pounded it in the dirt behind our shop. It actually went into some wells. So we have some test cases right now where, success was 1 month and we're at 2 years. Another for a major, it was 6 to 8 months was success. And we're, what did Courtney say last? She said I think last time I checked with her, we're at 435 days and that's still counting. That was a month and a half.
Wow.
Ago. So it is working.
How long does it normally, how long do you normally have to, what is that comparable to? And regular pipe, you haven't cased it or... Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying the right words.
The best way, one of our investors put it to me, who's the patent holder, Alexi, he put it to me because I was having the same thing. When I first came, I'm like, I need time.
Right.
Tell me how long. Is it 7 days, 2 minutes? What is it? And really, you can't set a specific time to it because all well environments are different.
Right.
So the best way he explained it to me is take bare carbon steel that has a 1x life cycle. You put some additives, chemical treatments, stuff like that. I don't know, maybe you get 3, 4, 5x. What we're saying is you'll get 10 to 15x out of this.
Okay.
From what we're testing and what we're seeing in the research from stainless steels.
That's awesome.
I think we need to take a step back and literally explain how the tubing process works. I mean, you go to any drilling rig and they have a bed of them laying down, right? I think there's even a scene in Landman where someone's standing on him, he fucking falls and
the
breaks
Grey's
his
Anatomy
arm
scene. Yeah.
When his kid takes over, they're running tubing.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are tubes. That's what this is, right?
Yeah.
And then just to really like break it down and just maybe if you can sum it up quickly is like, so what is the process of these being laying down on a site, going to the drilling rig and being put down? Just to explain to people who are out of the industry.
Fair enough. So casing and tubing is essentially the same thing. Just one stops at a certain diameter and the other one starts. So really, yes, you'll take, say your average well is, I don't know, 10,000 foot, divide that by 32 feet. That's because what your average will be. So yeah, you'll have a couple hundred of them on a rack. You'll roll it onto the catwalk, sling it up, pull it to the rig floor, close the elevators around it. Then the driller takes over, picks it up. It goes over well center. It's stabbed into that joint. If there is a joint there, or if it's the first joint, run it through the table. And then you take the next one and you just repeat that. So you'll stab it in, they'll put power tongs on it and it'll spin it up to the desired torque, whatever the optimum torque is, depending on weight, grade, that all changes. But so he'll spin it up, driller will pick up out of the slips, run that joint in the hole, set slips, grab another joint, and it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I have footage of this I just captured in Midland like half a year ago now, so I can just play it through. But I mean, that's the whole reason the rig looks like that. It's all meant to stand these pipes up and put them down a hole. And there's a guy up there who's like handling it. It's really crazy and kind of satisfying. Like you said, it's like repetitive. It's like a very satisfying loop. And you mentioned like earlier, like he's roughnecking in 99 and he's talking about these clamps. Like they didn't have that. They literally like using their bare hands, losing fingers, throwing chains as they say, right?
They still had tongs
I did
and
have a
chains.
cat head and spinning chain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've roped casing in because the tools I brought to location didn't work off of a cat head. So no, there's numerous ways to do it. Good thing they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they do that anymore? Like,
no. Well,
most of
no
it.
doubt they do somewhere at some point.
This
Mom and
is
pop.
this is where I always say I can roughneck now.
You look on LinkedIn and that picture always pops up of somebody wearing a ball cap and that, and the safety world jumps in. And
How is safety? This is off topic, but how was safety when you were roughnecking? Did y'all have to wear well, it was cold there, but in the summer, did you wear coveralls or did you was there any
You
safety?
didn't say the name of the company, so you're free to speak.
to be honest, my first set of coveralls I got from a grain elevator at my hometown. So yeah, no, it wasn't like pro band coveralls. We did transition into those, but no, like summer.
No FRs.
I wore steel toe boots, jeans, and whoever was giving out t-shirts when you bought a case of beer. That was your rig uniform. One time, funny story, had a company man kind of getting on to us. He's like, God, you guys are dirty. Can't you guys like clean your clothes and that? Like we're covered in pipe dope and stuff. I'm like, you wear that same pair of pants from yesterday. So we went to the Goodwill and bought suits. So the next morning when he came out, we're all in
Y'all
suits.
roughnecking in suits.
That's awesome.
I wish we had a picture of this. That's amazing. We need to have an AI generated image of that.
Yeah, this is great use case for
and
that.
he just shook his head, went back to his shack.
That's hilarious.
So no, the safety standards definitely have improved, right? For the better, for sure. It was just seemed different. Like a lot of people, I don't know, I'm probably going to upset like 3/4 of the older generation.
We love that.
The way I look at it, and I've gotten the pleasure to, work with neighbors in H&P also. Like H&P experience was amazing. But, you look at the processes now compared to like when I was roughnecking working floors, like we didn't have PDC bits. So tricone bits, you had time to go smoke a cig at the end of the catwalk and, do some other stuff, scrub. Like maybe I had a rig manager put it to me once, like maybe it was probably only 8 years ago. He's like, yeah, we just had more camaraderie at that point because we did kind of get to play around and stuff like that. Well, probably too much, but now you look at it and the efficiencies on these wells, like they're turning a drilling rig into almost like a service rig application, right? Where it's just tripping pipe all day because they drill so fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember when like I wanted to start a union, roughnecks against PDCs because I was like, I can't even finish a cig anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the whole basically just like from poking a hole to finishing was like almost a month. And now it's like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what you're saying. I mean, literally over half the time gone in a couple decades.
Yeah,
with
like I remember like drilling wells along the Rockies in Alberta, and those were 3.5 month holes, like without moving.
Wow.
Like if you made a connection in a day, you were doing pretty good at some times. I was like, but now, no, it's amazing what the technology has done.
It is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go back to, you did a great explanation, just running through it really quickly. Just, just for the people who think you're stabbing a straw to the ground and sucking it up, like just for those people who think that. But I wanted to just ask, what's up with the measurements of the tubes? They're 32 feet, you said?
Who
decided that?
So new pipe, I kind of consider 32.5 foot would be a new piece of production tubing. That's what we average when we tally it. So, but then you'll get, if the tubing's not totally worn out, it'll get cut down. They'll recut it. So that's one thing we can do also, is it doesn't have to be a brand new tube to install this in. We can do it in new and used. And actually probably 60% of our customer base utilizes their used tubing. Like I was talking to a customer in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and they have a pretty robust P&A plan, and I can't remember exactly how many wells, but 500 plus wells. So you think you're going to plug and abandon those wells, you're going to pull all that tubing out. So let's, I don't know, say 5,000 to 10,000 foot of tubing per well. What are you going to do with it now? Well, throw this in. It's not brand new, but it's almost new.
So they do recycle it? They reuse those tubes?
They'll reuse them, depending on how many thread cuts they can get out of it and stuff like that. Yeah. And then what the wall thickness is. Because you think about a flowing well, there's always going to be erosion. So the wall thickness is going to get less and less and less. Same with drill pipe too. So at that point, you got to consider what's your tensile strength going to take? How much torque can I put in this pipe? Well, is it going to bend right? Stuff like that. So no, a lot of companies do have what band they stop at.
Yeah. I mean, we moved offices half a year ago, and it's like, I had to take down all these frames. I'm not going to take the screws out and keep them. I'm just going to use a new screw. But these things cost 5 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that kind of the mindset on a large scale when it comes to these tubes?
Yeah. You're looking at, I don't know, range from, call it $4 to $10 a foot is kind of what that range is. So yes, they're looking at it when they got, you can go to West Texas and fly in. I can't remember what coating company it is right by the airport, but they got 88 acres of pipe out there. So there's a ton of pipe. Yeah. And then you look at places like Alaska. Well, that pipe's landlocked. They're never going to ship it back here to do anything with it, right? It's just not worth it. So yeah, there is a lot of recycling on the tubing side. And then it finally, when a wall loss is too much, goes to structural stuff.
Wrapping up my thought, back to the 32 foot. I mean, what's the pipe dream? Literally, why don't we just stick 200 foot pipes in the ground? Why 32? It's
a great question. A lot of it, and to be honest, I didn't know this until it was my boss, went to work for a casing provider, right? And you can't, if you think about it, the longest you're going to get, it's 45 feet. Tubing, for some reason, is only pretty much range 2 is what they call it. So that would be that 32.5. And yeah, it's a little bit on derrick height. So think of load limits on driving stuff down the road.
Oh yeah.
A train is one thing, right? You can get probably a lot longer piece on a train. And then of course the mills and stuff like that, they're set up for these sizes. So we're kind of stuck there. But yeah, why can't you do a 60 footer? You need a permit.
You can.
Now I'm picturing those trucks with the wind turbine wings, or the literal bridge, and those are 100 feet, and you hate seeing that because they're usually stopping the traffic with a convoy. So okay, that literally makes sense.
There isn't near as many wind turbines as there is wells. If you think about that, in various well lookup, I was blown away the first time I looked it up. I was like, holy cow.
Can we dive in a little bit more to the difference between casing and tubing? When would you use one over the other, and which one's first? Can you use them both together?
No. So casing typically won't start till 4.5 inch and higher. So
diameter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you take, so they'll run a 13 3/8, maybe 200 to 500 foot. Then they'll do a 9 5/8. And then probably their final string there will be a 5.5, out to whatever, 22,000 foot. So then those will all get cemented in their sections, right? As you go, you'll do the 13/3/8, cement it, run your new tools in, you'll drill out your 9 and 5, get through your curves and stuff like that, cement that. And then you'll go in for what they call on the drilling side would be like production casing, which would be like most typical 5.5, maybe a split string 5-inch. And then they'll run that right to bottom. So, and then they'll cement that. Then you go in, completions comes in, fracks it starts producing, and then, or then running tubing. So then you're not going to run tubing all the way to the bottom of the well. So, you think of that curve, maybe to somewhere in that curve area is where you'll land.
Okay.
Because you're going to get liquid or gas or whatever to that point. And
I never thought of that.
Help it go up.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I guess I assumed like at least horizontal drilling, you're not like literally bending the tube down there, but like.
Well, technically you are bending it.
Okay. Well, I meant like, I did think it like went all the way to the end, but it doesn't, the tube.
The production tubing doesn't, but that 5.5 casing, yes.
The casing does.
To wherever their target mark is. So yes. So yeah, it does have somewhat of flexibility, especially if you got, you got 10,000 foot before you get to that curve. And it's not like you're turning right down the street. So
that's what I picture.
Yeah.
Think of a big overpass.
No, yeah. We've seen those like 2D animations so many times. It's so dumbed down in your head, but it's obviously
complex.
Including my own animations, by the way.
Yeah, you've created those.
Sorry.
Do you cement tubing? No, you do that tool thing that melds it.
Well, yeah,
welds
it'll be set in a hanger.
Okay.
Packers and hangers. It depends on really what their call out is on kind of what that scenario looks like. There's a few different ones. I'm no expert on it by any means, so I'd prefer to not, but it doesn't just float there.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's hung, and sometimes it's put in tension too. So
got it.
Yeah. When I hear casing, I think of cement.
Tubing, no.
Right.
I've never even thought about the difference between casing and tubing. I hear them both all the time, but I've never thought about
really the
difference.
transition points like that 4.5. There's a double 4.5. There's a 4.5 tubing, and then like our common for North America would be 2 3/8, 2 7/8, 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah. Well, if only there was a podcast to explain it all. Let's get into the product. Why are these companies spraying or lining their tubes? What's the difference between inside or outside? What is the outside exposed to, the inside exposed to?
So I want to be clear on that too. So I can only do ID corrosion. There's definitely products for OD corrosion also. That's, a spray on product. There's numerous things. There's one that looks like pretty much gravel glued to the tubing. And they're very effective products too.
ID is inside.
Yeah.
Inside what? What is a D?
Inside diameter.
Diameter. Okay.
So inside the tube, and then there's a whole industry up that spray that do the outside of tubes.
And potentially it's that same person that does IDOD also.
Oh, okay.
Got
So
it.
like if it's a spray on deal, I could quite see them all doing it. If they're capable of doing inside, they should be capable of doing outside.
What's so if you're purchasing this to prevent corrosion, what's more exposed, the inside or the outside?
It depends on the production flow.
Okay.
So if you take a lot of new wells, predominantly, well, I would say, a large portion of the new wells that come online are annular production. So that's actually producing up the outside of the tubing. So at that point, the inside is just kind of sitting there stagnant. So not a lot of turbulent flows. So the erosions aren't very bad. But at a certain point, one of the majors I was meeting with, like I was asking, like, so is there like a standard deal on when you switch over? So yes, when they start seeing, call it flow losses and stuff like that, and they actually need to manipulate that and help that, then they'll switch to ID production.
So this is going to be a stupid question, you have your well, there's pipe that lines the well, and then you have your casing, or your tubing.
So casing first.
Casing's the outside.
Yes.
Okay. Casing's the outside. So you have your pipe, your casing.
No.
Are you talking like drill pipe? Your drill pipe.
I'm trying to
You're laying
understand.
down drill pipe to run. Well, or racking back drill pipe to run casing, right? So you've drilled the well. Now you're going to pull all that drill pipe out, rack it back, or lay it down, pending if it's last well.
Yeah. I guess this is what I'm trying to understand, how it can flow on the outside of the tubing.
There's room.
And because the well is lined with a
Let me help you there.
I'm like, how is it not going into the world?
Right. Annular production, if you think about it, this is 2 7/8
Okay.
tubing, right? So the OD of it's 2 7/8. And if you can do the quick math for me, you got 5.5 casing. So, you have that space that's in between it, right? It's like similar to even this. Like it's not much space.
Right.
But it would be like that.
Okay.
So you do have room to come up the side.
Got it.
What can corrode the inside of a pipe if like the oil is coming through? I would assume like million-year-old crude oil isn't doing much to this stainless steel.
The chemical properties in that, right? H2S, CO2, oxygen is a huge hitter too. Chlorides. So it's those things, as they get worse and worse, they corrode worse and worse. So, even if it's on surface, it could have the same environment as downhole. It's just we specialize on the downhole side, and we can't go large enough to do a lot of the surface side.
Yeah. Did you have to learn a lot about chemicals, these byproducts? H2S obviously is like the killer, the metal eater, the people eater.
Oh my God.
I personally didn't. I got people that are very smart that backed me up for sure. Like if we have a customer of interest, I try to get their well environment and what that chemical composition looks like. And then I'll kick it to my engineering team because we have 3 different blends, I guess you could call it, of stainless steel. So we've named them 5000, 7000, and Pro Series. So what they do is like the 5000 is probably the bottom end. The 7000 is, would be the mid range because we got a Pro Series. But they kind of take care of different things. Like this is the 7000 would be good for high H2S, whereas the 5000 might not be as good for it. It just kind of depends what that makeup is, what the downhole temps look like, because once you see that full environment, it'll kind of direct you to like what nickel moly content you need, and that's what's in stainless steel. So it has various concentrations of nickel and moly that will affect how they react to different environments.
I never thought of what stainless steel was.
Me either.
Until April 24, neither did I.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, okay, at a lot of hospitals and stuff like that, kitchens.
You always hear about these metals and it's like, you forget which one's like just like a pure element. What's not. Like titanium is like a mixture of something. Steel is a mixture of something. Copper is copper, right? So it's like, I was getting a little mixed up with that. Let's talk about the shop that y'all work in, y'all create and line everything with. What does it look like?
You would be bored.
Big warehouse.
It's what are we? 70 by 500 foot long. It's a pretty cool facility. But like I came from like that drilling side of it where, if it's not loud, it doesn't work. Stuff like that. Like you can see some automation going and it's not as loud as the other systems. So they're like, it's not that fast. Well, you come in there, the loudest thing I got is an air compressor. And I got a really high end air compressor that's super quiet. So yeah, like PPE wise, you don't need hearing protection. I don't have cranes going overhead. And then our machines are very automated too. So other than manipulation of like, I look at it, the people on my floor, granted, there's more to it than the job than what I'm going to explain for sure. But I look at it, they're like loading a gun is what they're doing. So they're taking pipe, rolling it to a certain reference point, and then hit start and the machine takes over. So there's not a lot of physical labor. Like I could be ruining the labor force.
I mean, this stuff's so cool though. I mean, these are viral videos online of like CNC machines cutting metal and they're cutting through it like butter, or like the compressors like smashing like candles and shit. Like, do you have machines like that are like doing these very satisfying things?
No, that's why I say it's boring.
Damn.
Like you'll be like, I've had customers like, okay, we're going through the door. We're going to see the chocolate factory or whatever you want to call it. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Bummer.
Yeah, it's super quiet.
No chocolate, but only Oompa Loompas.
the process is really automated, and we're going to go a couple steps further on just kind of pipe delivery within the shop. You know, ultimately, I'd like to have the forklift not ever have to come in the shop, right? And then just, you know, pipe where it needs to be at precision times.
Cool.
So it's a lot of precise movements to make it work.
Well, one of my last questions is about location. So you drive around Houston, you see these warehouses everywhere. Sometimes they have like their sheds open and you just see like giant machines. You always see these pipes, and not just like tubing for oil and gas, but I always see just like giant tubes and pipes everywhere, yards. It's like so Houston. We have no zoning laws, so you can literally live right next to one.
There's an apartment complex in the middle.
And I love it. I'm charmed by Houston's ugliness, but obviously it'd be easier and better if you were right next to the, you know, in Midland. Like but a lot of these guys are in Houston. Like, why are they in Houston and making the trip out to the field? Is it worth it? Why aren't they closer? Something like that.
So a lot of it is, where does the tubing come from, right? So we don't produce most of it. Like, it's coming from other places. So it's getting, you know, boated in and stuff like that. So we're a port.
Houston's easy, yeah.
So if you look at new product, is definitely this is where to be, right? When you look at used, yes, you're going to want to be closer to Midland, you know, Williston, North Dakota, wherever that might be. And that's actually what we're looking at. So we do have additional, we call them VM machines or forming machines. I have additional machines already built. So scalability for me to jump into a Midland market is not a problem. I'm just would like to tow on to somebody to bring me in, right?
So you're currently not in Midland?
No, but we have pipe in the ground in Midland. So we're working on being closer to the market, which ultimately it'll help the end user out.
Yeah.
So timing and cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we're there by Q3 next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, it seems like the perfect setup for these companies is to have, you know, live in a port city to build the new stuff, and then live on, like, you know, like you said, Williston, Midland, and have like branches for the used stuff and just really capture the market yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool.
Where are a lot of y'all's like clients right now?
So we're kind of spread out. Really, only basin we're not in is in the Northeast. So I got testing going on in Alaska right now. You know, the majority of our customers, if we want to do a total count, would be West Texas. We do Anadarko Basin, Oklahoma, East Texas. We got a test case going on there. Trying to work into a South Texas one as we speak. But, you know, the customer list keeps growing, which is great.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess my biggest milestone when we're discussing milestones actually with Midnight Marketing, because they're my marketing group. They're awesome too.
Shout out. We love them and they do such a great job.
Yeah. So we're discussing milestones, and really to me, the milestone that sticks to me the most is that repeat customer. Like, I can convince, like, I feel like I'm a pretty good salesperson by nature. Like, I convince you to do it once, but how am I going to get you to do it twice if it doesn't work? So yeah, that repeat business definitely is a milestone that I track.
Right.
And then how we're turning some of these other customers into repeat orders also.
And that's just based off of if they have more wells and if they have more corrosion. Because if they only have like one that's corroding, you obviously can't expand.
It definitely isn't every well solution. It just doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of corrosion out there. Like, it would be more than what one thinks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
Any more roughneck questions? We can get back into that.
I love roughneck questions.
Your guys' next podcast, I'll hook you up with a guy, but you got to do one on casing crews.
Yes.
You should do that. You want to hear some stories? I'll get you a guy for sure. Because like when I was the director of that, like you get a call at like 2 a.m. and you know, the first thing you hear is, you got to hear this, right? And a lot of people will be like, well, you guys probably get it all the time because you do a podcast on new stuff. But I'm like, hear what? I pretty much think I've heard it all. But no, it's a totally new way to screw stuff up. Like, you'll be amazed what some people can do.
I just want to hear, we need to do a podcast on like horror stories. Just tell us not like really bad things, just like what's gone downhole and messed everything up. That's funny.
Not tragedy, just
tragedy.
stupidity.
There you go. Yeah.
Stupidity, tragedy.
Yep.
I had a guy I was in the field with. This is kind of a good one, but brutal to be there. So no horror story, but consider, you just pulled 20,000 foot of pipe, tripped it out of the hole. Now you're running back in. You got just about everything back in the hole, and you drop the dope brush down the center of the pipe, and you got to go in and pull all the pipe out to get the dope brush.
That's like that little stick with
Oh
oil
my
on it, right?
God.
How do you, you just, like, what?
Honestly, I feel like it'd be easy. I'd be freaking out about that
Well,
the whole
no,
time.
there's a little ring on it now. On the pipe. It's a simple
the guys,
solution.
They grab it and just like do, and that's it. Like, how do you just like actually drop it?
And
It was intrusive
there might have
thoughts.
been like there might have been one stand left in the derrick. And that
Oh
guy's
my
like,
God.
It might have been his last day.
Everyone hated him after
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, well, that's about it. Tyler, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you. This is fun.